Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back once again to the United Regional Chamber's weekly update. We try to bring you on some interesting guests and some events and things that are happening around the area. Today, it is my pleasure to bring back onto the show Mim Fawcett. Mim Fawcett is the Executive Director and Chief Curator at the Attleboro Arts Museum. Welcome, Miss Mim.
Thank you so much, Jack. I'm happy to be back.
Oh, well, first off, for some on the show that might not know, tell us a little bit about Mim.
Okay. Well, I've been the Executive Director and Chief Curator here at the museum since 2006. And what that means is that I have the honor of dealing with all of the beautiful artwork that comes in here and making sense of it, I guess, is a good way of thinking about it. Where if we are getting ready to show an exhibition, it needs to be curated. It needs to be organized and arranged in a way that makes sense to our viewers and also tells a story just beyond the individual pieces. We do between 8 and 10 exhibitions here each year, and that would include work from all around the country. We have national shows. We also have permanent collection shows, and we have one of those coming up in February very soon. We have shows from artists who are members. It's quite a variety. And we also pride ourselves on having shows that really appeal to everyone. So it could be that one time we're showing mosaics, and then 2 months later we are showing works on canvas that are oil. It's really a variety. We also have an exhibition. In addition to the exhibitions, we have a museum school here, and we do a number of different programs ourselves, and we partner with a lot of the folks in Attleboro.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the school here in just a little bit, but tell us about the current show that you have going on.
Well, actually, we're in one of those funny phases where we're in transition. We are just taking down I know, it's a sad time because I feel like a foster parent when we have an exhibition here. I really get connected to all of the pieces, and then they go
and you
back.
Gotta let your little children go.
I know, and they're better for it, and it's all good, but, I do miss them. But we had 364 pieces here from member artists in the gallery. That show opened up in the beginning of December. And it was 180 member artists that submitted between 1 and 3 pieces, and we landed on 364. That is a full show. That's a blockbuster show for us here. And ideally, we show 100 pieces at a time. But it's a non-juried show, which means that all work that's guideline compliant gets in, and we are happy to show it. It could be the only time that an artist gets to exhibit all year long because there are so many juried opportunities out there, but we feel like this is something important for our members. So that show closed the end of last week. Work is being picked up. A new show is rolling in, and that is going to go live on February 15th. That is our annual Selections from the Permanent Collection show. So that one is titled A Contemporary Narrative. And as I mentioned, it is selections from the permanent collection, but it's an unusual grouping. Most of our permanent collection pieces are paintings and prints, but this selection for this year is actually from a small sub-collection that we have, which is memorabilia from the Civil War. And that work was collected by Major Horton, Everett Horton of Attleboro, and donated in the 50s to the museum from his estate. So we've held on to those pieces, and what I've done was reach out to local, but not so local also, Black artists, and I've asked them to look at some selections from the Civil War memorabilia, to choose one and to create contemporary works of art that respond to these Civil War pieces. So it's a really, really interesting show because of the look to the past, the look at the present, looks at the future, how these artists are connecting to these pieces from the Civil War, and accompanying all of the visual art will be statements from the artists, so that viewers will not only be able to see the creative expression from the artist that is in visual form, but also their words. It's really very moving.
Well, this will be an exciting show. And you say it opens on the 15th of February?
It does. It opens on the 15th. We have an opening reception that night from 7 to 8:30, which, like all of our opening receptions, are free and open to the public. We just ask that people let us know, and you can do that through our website. Excuse me. And it opens on the 15th, and then it closes on February 29th.
Oh, okay. So this is only a short show.
It is. Our selections from the permanent collection are usually for 2 weeks. But Jack, it is a jam-packed 2 weeks. And most of our shows last for, a month, sometimes 6 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. Our member show is a little longer. But the permanent collection show is up during, for the regular run, it's up during vacation week. So we get a lot of folks that come in at that point. It is also unusual in that it fills 2/3 of our gallery, and 1/3 is left open for educational purposes, for committees like the Martin Luther King Committee of Greater Attleboro is having a meeting during that time. Council for Humanities is meeting. We have groups from Wheaton coming over, so the gallery will be very busy with those groups, and a rare nighttime viewing for the public of the gallery is happening during the Winter Night Festival on February 17th. So even though it's a 2-week show, sometimes we get over 7,000 people in here because of the heavily programmed time period.
Well, it's, I know that we've always known Attleboro as one of the jewelry cities, but the museum is definitely one of the gems in Attleboro.
Ah, that's nice.
But you also reach outside of Attleboro. So I want to just touch base. You've partnered with some of the other museums on a visual art trail. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that just launched last week. I'm so proud of this initiative. It's really great. I was approached by a colleague at Fuller Craft Museum in Brockton, and she had reached out to a colleague at the Art Complex Museum in Duxbury. And the two of them were thinking about how they are no further apart than 40 minutes by car. And then they thought about how there are a number of other organizations that are also no more than 40 minutes away by car. And we're all south of Boston, and we all happen to have rotating exhibitions, and we all happen to be free admission. So Fuller Art Complex in Duxbury, South Shore Art Center in Cohasset, and the Plymouth Center for the Arts, the 5 of us got together and decided to link arms and to create this Boston South Visual Arts Trail that is now live. And you can go to any of the organizations, again, free, open to all. I do recommend that you go to their websites just to make sure that it's a good day for folks to visit. And when I say that, it means that exhibitions are all up, they're not in transition, they're not installing something. And then visit maybe 2 new spots that will infuse art and culture into your life in one day. So we're very excited to see how it goes. We were just featured on WGBH radio, and we've had lots of press about it too in the different regions. And I think it's demonstrating a movement that should have always been in place, but is definitely gaining traction these days, and that is collaboration and partnership between like organizations. It's really vital. We help each other.
We all get a lot further when we work together. And that is such a great example of organizations, not right next door to each other, that can reach out and work into a partnership.
Right.
And this would be a great tour, especially we got vacation time coming up. So if you're looking for something to do with the kids, again, only 40 minutes apart, You don't have to keep hearing, are we there yet? Are we there yet? We can always just run from one to the next.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so next up coming, you're a huge part of the Attleboro Winter Festival. Talk to us a little bit about the festival.
Yeah, I love that event. We used to do an expo, a summer version, expo for the senses, and we did a winter night festival. And because of summertime just being so busy, that was really fundamentally what the issue was. And in a few other components, we decided to take all of our efforts and funnel them into the winter night festival. And that's a time of year, as we all know, where there's not a lot being programmed. There's certainly not a lot being programmed outside, and not a lot of community connection. And we've been doing it for over 10 years. I think this is the 12th year that we've been doing it. And we had to stop a bit for COVID, but you know, everybody even during that time was saying, "Oh, I hope the Winter Night Festival comes back." And it's such a good, clean, fun event. There's a great bonfire on the museum's lawn. There's ice sculpting, carving on the steps of the registry. There's a hayride. It's just like great, good, clean fun. And it's free admission. There's something for everyone. And it has been tweaked a little bit this year because we had to change the footprint. And with doing that, we are able to bring in some different attractions in different places. For the past, I'm going to say 5 years or so, we've had live alpacas. They're going to be back, but we also have live sheep this year, and we have pony rides. So, you know, there's that side of it, and it never fails. Like the bigger they are, the more they love a live animal. It's so sweet to see like everybody attracted to these participants on 4 legs. And the museum is open. A contemporary narrative will be on view. So as I said earlier, people will be able to see the show then. But on the other side of a contemporary narrative, we will have a craft fair going on here at the museum, and we'll have 14 vendors that have a variety of different handmade original items, from jewelry to crocheting, which is really taking hold. Everybody is doing knitting and crocheting these days, and we've got a number of vendors that have their wares. We have art for sale during the craft fair too. We have ceramics. It's really a good mix. And these folks are very local. So I do encourage guests to come. It's free admission if you want to purchase something that's different, but to get into the museum, it's free. And all of the attractions are free as well. If you want to buy something at the food court, there's a fee for that. But you can get into all of these things without having to pay. Really good. I have 3 kids, and I know when they were growing up, like going to something that had free admission was delightful. And then you can determine whether or not you wanted to purchase anything beyond that, but you could still have a really good time just going on all of these rides and visiting the different attractions. We have new things this year. We have bumper cars, which should be really fun for those who qualify. I think you have to be under a certain height. We have wonderful Nancy Young at the registry building, who represents Attleboro Jewelers, and she is going to have kind of a timeline, if you will, a living timeline of jewelry in Attleboro and what manufacturers offer. And there are a lot of hands-on components there too. There are going to be musicians and circus attractions, people on stilts, love them, never get tired of that. And then we'll have caricatures in here. I know I'm forgetting things, but I've also listed a lot. So, you know, there's definitely a great deal for people to do on that night. And it's February 17th. The time's a little different. It's 4:30 to 7:30. But if it rains, we can do it in the snow, but we can't do it in the rain because the fire doesn't like the rain. We will meet the next night on Sunday night, the 18th.
Will the Snow Princess be there? That was my granddaughter's favorite of all.
Yeah. Yes, in a different form is my answer.
Right.
And your granddaughter's not alone, because I was standing next to, I guess, a 4-year-old at the time last year, and this little kid's jaw dropped when he saw the snow princess. It was so amazing to me to just know that the impact, sometimes you don't know whether or not things are working, but I knew that things were working when this little boy could not put his head down and close his mouth because he was in awe of this monumental figure that was illuminated and beautiful and great. So that was worth it. It was worth it.
Yes, and my granddaughter, she died to get a picture with her, and
Yeah,
the young lady who was the princess was so good with all the little kids that came over.
I know.
It's such a great thing for the little ones.
I know, I know. It really is. And they are so good. The performers love the feedback, love to be with the kids, and these moments become like part of your fun family memory, which is
Yep.
so great for us to know. Like, if we've been doing this for 12 years, there were little kids who are a lot older now who remember going and as a little boy or girl, and seeing these people on stilts and just everything happening must be magical. So it's great.
Well, as we're talking about little kids, one of the other offerings that you have there at the museum is classes, and classes for little ones as well as adults. But we have February vacation coming up.
Yep.
What have you got planned for February vacation?
Yeah, we do have a February vacation art week session, and that is for kids in grades 1 through 4. And it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it's held Tuesday through Friday of vacation week. And we have a wonderful teacher, Valerie Haggerty Silva, who has done the vacation week before with us. And the kids are here. It's a long day. So, if you have a little one who loves working with their hands, loves art, loves creating, this is the place for them. And we only have a few spots left. So most of our classes and workshops are really popular, I'm happy to report. And this one is too. But a little one who just loves to make things and loves to be in a creative environment, it is tailor-made for them. So yeah, you can find all that information out on the museum's website just by going to attleboroartsmuseum.org and clicking on our classes.
Well, they're fabulous classes. I know many young ones who have taken them. I'm trying to encourage my granddaughter because she does like art, but she lives in Taunton, and it's trying to convince mom to make the drive every morning before work.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll work that out. Now,
Yeah.
as we're heading into spring, you have something exciting coming up in March. Tell us.
We do. The return of the flower show. So the flower show is celebrating its 26th year, which is amazing. And that is, I say this in the best way, a community darling. Like, I can't tell you how many people, particularly during the pandemic, were just clamoring for the flower show to come back. And granted, we were all clamoring for anything to come back because, we wanted to just bring back the world as we knew it. But I think the flower show has this special place in people's hearts because, once again, it's one of those events where it can appeal to all ages. And in this case, there is admission. It is a fundraising event for the museum, but the admission is $3 per day for adults, and kids 9 and under are free. So it's even if you do have a family, it's still very reasonable to get in. And the museum transforms at that time. It is filled with live gardens and a meandering art exhibition that has nature-themed art. The whole place is in bloom, upstairs, downstairs, wherever you go. And it smells great. The smell of mulch. I mean, we don't smell that now. It's been so cold and the earth is so frozen and wet that at times. So, coming to the flower show, all of a sudden people just feel rejuvenated. And I think that's what makes it so special to everyone. And like the Winter Night Festival and some other things that we do and that we're involved in, I think it's become kind of a family tradition for a number of people. So we see a grandma taking a grandchild and holding hands and going over to a garden and appreciating the same thing. And there aren't a lot of things around that an 80-year-old can appreciate with a 5-year-old, and this
That's
has
true.
that magic. So it's coming back. The theme is festivals around the world this year. Gardens in Celebration is the subtext. So what that means is we'll have gardens that are dedicated to particular events that are happening internationally. So Mardi Gras, Holi, Day of the Dead, the Tulip Festivals, Lantern Festivals. So it's a really nice way of getting kind of an international twist in all of the flowers that come with a country, and also having amazing color and having stories being told through the gardens with these celebrations. And the flower show, it launches with a preview that happens on Thursday, March 20th, and that is from 6 to 8 p.m. And that's a ticketed event, 15 for members and 17 for non-members. And then the daily events happen after that. So we have from March 21st through the 24th, and you can see all this on our website too. The gallery is open from 9:30 to 4 for the first 3 days, and on Sunday from 12 to 4 with gardens and attractions. We have animal education programs. We have live music going on pretty much the whole time, and different types of music. We have programs for young kids on Thursday and Friday mornings, representatives from the library, from Project Connect, from Capron Park Zoo, from Oak Knoll. Talk about community event and talk about planning. Like my head right now is sort of spinning with like winter on this side and flower show on this side, with trying to lock all the pieces in. But it's great in that way. And there is, it's not a circus, but it has that kind of entertaining and lighthearted feel. And then this year, I am so happy to say that we are bringing back the cafe, because we haven't been able to in full form since COVID. And the cafe is being called Tony's Whistle Stop Cafe. And this is, and you know who, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tribute to someone I miss so much, Tony Viveros, who was a great friend of the museums, and he would always volunteer at the flower show and work in the cafe. So we're calling it Tony's Whistle Stop, and we did that last year too, but the cafe was very limited. This year, we're going to have lunch in kind of a different form, not like we used to, but everything's been sort of reimagined and shifted a little bit. But we'll have lunch, and we'll have Tony's Whistle Stop Cafe open from 11 to 3:30 every day.
Well, thank you for recognizing Tony. Tony was such a huge part of the city of Attleboro for so many years. For those younger folks who don't know, Tony's Whistle Stop was the coffee shop at the Attleboro train station for many, many years, until Tony himself decided to retire and put most of his efforts into the Attleboro Arts Museum, which he did such a fabulous job. Well, Mim, it sounds like you got a very exciting schedule up on the calendar coming. Is there anything in our closing, is there anything last minute that you want to talk about?
Well, we do have a great program coming up on February 24th. That's a Saturday, once again, free and open to everyone. It's called the Art Lovers Book Club. And don't tell anybody, but you don't have to read the book ahead of time. You can just come and sit and listen if you're interested in the program. The book that we are featuring is Architects of an American Landscape, and it's a combination book which kind of spotlights the friendship between Frederick Law Olmsted, who his firm designed our very own Capron Park, and Richardson. And so Olmsted and Richardson worked together. Richardson was an architect who has quite a number of buildings in downtown Easton. So you can see these beautiful brick structures that are kind of storytelling in the way that they're created, just amazing. And the book outlines their partnership and their the relationship through the years and the projects that they worked on. And we're lucky enough to have the author, Hugh Howard, attend, and he is our speaker. So Hugh will be talking all about the book and about the two characters in the book. And what happens sometimes is I tell people, look, you know, like life gets in the way. You can't always read it or read the whole thing. So like come, and then 9 times out of 10 afterward, people pick up the book and they read it and it all locks it in. But if you can read it beforehand, it's a great read. He's a wonderful historian. We read a book by Hugh Howard several years ago called The Artist's Chair, and it was all about portraiture. And so he just has a wonderful writing style, and we're very lucky to have him attend. And this is in part funded by the ATT Texans. So free, open to everybody. So come and join us that day.
Well, we got some great things happening. Mim, thank you once again for joining me on the show today. Hopefully some folks can view this and be prepared for the winter market, because I know that we are. And if there's anything else that you think you might need, please reach out to Mim. She's there at the museum almost every day. As you can see, she's a busy lady, and she's got a ton of stuff going on. But to the gem of Attleboro Arts Museum. Mim Fawcett, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Jack. It was fun to talk to you.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Folks, thank you once again for joining us. Hopefully you'll stay safe this week. Be a little soggy out there, but we'll see you next week. Thanks.